Good evening and another rainy evening from Pune. So this is becoming a standard practice for us, going through this rainy days every day. But I think we are getting used to all the changes around us, isn't it? Now on that note, the recent and most talked about change that's happened in education recently has been the NEP 2020, the National Education Policy or the New Education Policy. Now what does this mean? The National Education Policy कुछ नया आया है? No. This has been here for many years. It has just been reviewed and revived recently. And this has been done from the sole purpose that children should be the core of the entire set of years through which they are going through the education, and when they come out of school, they should no more be jittery about what they have studied and what they need to apply in the real world. Most of us who have been through our education have felt several times that when we came out of our learning times and tried to apply to a real time, we felt that we are struggling somewhere, in the sense that we have studied everything in such boxed manners that we were not able to apply to the real world. So now the new NEP has tried to change the mindset of people, the educators, the parents, so the next generation that's going to be coming out in the real world feels connected with the real world and not disconnected with what they studied and what is required. Very simple, obviously very logical, and very sensible as well. I wonder why this had not happened for so many years. But theek hai, der aaye durust aaye, that's fine. So what does NEP now look to put focus upon? It is looking to put focus upon the fact that children are going to learn in the most comfortable manner possible. They are going to learn such that the learning is integrated, the learning is given to them through experience, the learning is not forced upon them, and that the learning is going to happen in their comfortable language. Now, suppose my parents were working in Punjab and I have to shift from Punjab because my father has a change of job, and I have to now move to say Odisha, or to say Maharashtra, or to say Kerala. What would happen of my medium of communication in a school, because there in Punjab I was learning in Punjabi? Well, this is going to be a very valid question to see if this particular child who has been learning in a particular mother tongue can shift between states. Well, we are blessed with innumerable languages that we can speak across the country, but how is this particular child going to be taught in their comfortable language? These are certain technicalities which, as and when we start to implement the education policy, these little glitches will start getting ironed out. But overall, the NEP stands for children. It stands up to the value of education, and it stands to the fact that children should not have to study just to get marks, but they now need to study or come to a school or do their schooling time such that they are equipped to come out in the real world and apply that learning as soon as they can. And through these years of learning, they are supposed to be taught in an integrated manner, in an experiential manner, which I have personally been speaking about for many years by now. And that's why Head Over Heels School stands different from many other schools, simply because we have been practicing the integrated and the experiential form of learning. How come we've been doing it for so long? Simple. Simply because this is the most logical way to learn. You cannot learn in boxes. You have to learn keeping in mind the surroundings around you. Yeah. Now, the other important thing about NEP is that earlier we all have gone to preschool, and in general it used to be called a kindergarten. And there we were when we were kids. We were sent to school when we were almost around 3 or 4 years of age, and we did 2-3 years of nursery, KG, and then we were sent to grade 1. Then we had schooling of grade 1 to grade 10. Then we had a junior college of grade 11 and 12. Yeah, so it was 3 plus 10 plus 2. Now this has been changed. Now what the new system is trying to tell us is the first few years are going to be changed in, or should I say rearranged or put in a different order, such that nursery, junior KG, senior KG, grade 1 and grade 2 are going to be together, which means this is going to be having a beautiful progression, unlike earlier where from senior KG jumping to grade 1 was a difficult task for children. It still is as of today. But once this implementation of NEP happens in schools, this transition is going to be slightly easier. So that's nursery, junior, senior, grade 1, grade 2 is clubbed to 5 years. Then we have grade 3, grade 4, grade 5 clubbed together. Then we have grade 6, grade 7 and grade 8 put together. And last, we have the final 4 years, which is grade 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, some simple fact that I'm going to tell you right now is when we run a school, a high school, which is up to grade 10 or 12, what we are allowed to do as a school is make a choice of books from grade 1 to grade 8. We are allowed to make that choice as schools on what books we can use. It needn't necessarily be approved by the board through which you are teaching. It can be any beautiful book that you want to use in the school based on the subject or the topic that you want to teach in the classroom. Okay, so there is no hard and fast rule that only this textbook has to be used in this particular grade. Because think about it, what would these hundreds of publications do if that was the rule, isn't it? Even between two ICSE schools, you will see that the textbook used between two ICSE schools are different. But you will see that the information is the same. Similar is the situation with two CBSE schools or two SSE schools. You will see that when you pick up one grade and two different schools of the same board, they use different textbooks simply because they choose that this publication gives me a better deal, or that publication books look more interesting or something like that. That's about it. So we are allowed to use the books we want to use in our school up to grade 8. Now, when I only say up to grade 8, I'm going to come to the next step about it. But before that, there's also a rule whether NEP has been present all these years or it is going to be coming in a new format in the coming years. There is a current rule which states that children cannot be failed until the grade 8. Okay, that means even if the child is getting below average marks or below passing marks, the teachers are only going to keep giving remarks to the parents saying, "Aap isko tuition mein lagao, aap usko coaching class bhejo, do this, do that. You know what, I can only do so much because I have 40-50 kids in the class. So your child needs individual attention, please send them somewhere else." Okay, until grade 8, all this tamjam is going to happen. No one's going to really worry about pushing a parent to take their child out of the school. Okay. Now, when we as parents were schooling, we had a very strict rule. And we used to be repeatedly told about this if we got poor marks. ढंग से नहीं पढ़ोगे तो स्कूल से निकाले जाओगे. Isn't it? We have all heard this. Now, it was a very simple thing because at that time ये rule था that if you failed twice or thrice in the same class, you will be chucked out of the school. That pink slip or whatever that notice was given, and they will tell the parent, take your child out of my school. You go to any other school, but not in my school anymore. Now, your child is going to face this when they will reach the 9th grade. You know why? Because no education policy is coming to protect you there. Your child is being protected until grade 8 because you're going to keep paying the fees, which in private schools is fairly hefty, and the policy says that child cannot be removed from school, unless there are disciplinary actions or whatever. That's a legal aspect to it. But as per the education rules, the child cannot be removed from the school for failing in some subject. But come 9th, many parents have faced this fact that when their child has reached 9th, अब fail करना नहीं चलेगा. Why? Because education policy नहीं protect करता है. नहीं, क्योंकि अभी अगर fail करोगे ना तो मेरा स्कूल का percentage नीचे आ जाएगा भाई. So you are not allowed to stay in my school anymore. I tolerated your grades until grade 8. I tolerated as a school your marks until grade 8. Now in 9th, you are not going above 80% or 90% or whatever is the school standard. You're going to be given that door ka rasta, the red carpet will be towards the door. It's nowhere inside the school. This is the fact. And this is the blunt fact that I am not going to be fearful about saying at all, because parents are facing this, children are facing this, and we as educators are completely aware of this. Okay. Now another thing around this is, when your child is around the age of 9th and 10th, their education is getting integrated in a certain way. Now I will explain to you how this fact beautifully blends with the NEP and how it has never been so different. Now when you are getting into grade 9 and 10th, your school starts to prepare the children from grade 8 onwards. Okay? And now you will also see that many coaching classes, I don't want to name coaching classes, but there are many of them which teach a 9th grader what needs to be taught in 10th grade. So what the schools are doing is, they are giving a skeleton understanding to the child for 9th grade and saying the flesh and mass of this 9th grade depends upon what you're going to learn from 10th grade. So within the first term, pretty much let's wrap up the 9th grade and start focusing strongly on what is to be done in your 10th grade. It can be good, it may not work in favor of the child. There's nothing wrong or right in doing this way. I am not, being judgmental about it. I'm just telling you a fact that this is what is going to happen. So from 9th onwards, you are back integrating that board into your child and then making a comfortable blend into grade 10. Now what the NEP is going to do? Nothing different. It's going to do the same thing. Because think about it, nursery, junior, senior, 1, 2, 5 years, 3, 4, 5, 3 years, 6, 7, 8, the next 3 years. So 5 plus 3 plus 3 is done. Next is the other 4, which is 9, 10, 11, 12. So 9, 10, 11, 12 was always a part of a package. It's just that as parents or as teachers, we never gave it that kind of thought process. No? So whatever you're learning in 9th and 10th is what pretty much another extension goes into 11th and 12th. After that is the stream that you take, because boards are going to function from grade 1 to grade 12. And here I want to make a very important mention that if preschools, any standalone preschools or any chain of preschools or any school which is below grade 1 ever tells you that we are following a CBSE pattern or a ICSE pattern, please remember that preschools do not come under any board. Okay? Board is applied only from elementary schooling, which is grade 1. So preschools don't come under any board. So please don't fall for this myth that, on a lot of social media, I come across these questions where parents are quite unawarely asking, can I get CBSE junior KG curriculum? Man, there is no CBSE junior KG curriculum, and there is no ICSE KG curriculum, or there is no SSE nursery curriculum. There is nothing of that sort. Across preschools in India or whichever part of the world you go to, before they enter grade 1, children are taught basic things of phonics, numerals introduction, digits of ones house and tens house, and that's about it. The next level that they will get to is to learn about 2-letter words, 3-letter words, 4-letter words. There cannot be beyond that, because please remember that education is not as per the board. Education is as per the age. Okay? So across the world, based on the age that your child is what the child is going to learn. So it really does not matter which board your child is learning from. Now, few people have asked me this question, and I am going to just refer to the question now. Does NEP apply to ICSE, CBSE, SSE, NIOS? Well, National Education Policy, it's an educational framework which has been there in the past. And if it was there in the past and all these boards had to follow it, then in the future also every single board will have to follow it. Now, what about the international boards? Has any parent actually visited any of the books or a classroom, how an international board classroom is run? Because if you visit one, or even if you visit our school or see our classroom live on Facebook, you will realize that integration and experiential format of learning is how IB or Cambridge board teaches. There cannot be any other format of learning. But unfortunately, the struggle that children have with the Indian boards is that they are so textbookish, they are so rote learning, that children are not able to bring out or enhance their own self. Alright? Now, what NEP is telling very, very clearly is now children have to learn based on their skill sets. Now children are supposed to be taught by a different level of teachers who are supposed to understand the skill sets of these children and accordingly teach them. This is going to be a super struggle, which is going to be very, very visible in our system from the coming years. Now I'm going to say something again, which is not going to be very well taken by many of the schools. Now, I have been in touch with many principals, vice principals, and all of us who have been in the education field for decades. Okay? It's strange that none of the schools have got any document, any compliance letter which says that this is the compliance for the new education policy and from now on you need to follow this. So now I wonder, how have preschools or even high schools of various boards been advertising immediately post-COVID that they are NEP compliant? Something to wonder, no? Now, how did parents not even do a little bit of research to understand what is NEP compliance? But I will tell you what, I have done it. All those schools which had their hoardings which said they are NEP compliant, I have called these schools and asked them, what are they doing different after being NEP compliant? And they have had no answer specific enough to give me. You know why? Because there is no such compliance that has come across any school. And if some school has actually received it, they should post it on social media and let all the other schools know that, listen, I have received this. Have you received it? Because some major schools that I know of have not received it. So how is it possible that only a handful of schools have received the compliance letters? Have they chosen them specifically for some reason? Now parents have to really wonder this, yeah? Because they are spending huge amount of money on these private schools which are very clearly saying that they are NEP compliant. पर ऐसी कोई compliance है ही नहीं जिसको आपने अभी implement करना है. This is going to be effective probably from the academic year of 23-24. And that too provided everybody has got the framework. Okay. Now please think, parents and schools, before you advertise, are you really doing the right thing by doing gumrao karo parents ko? Or are parents really falling for something just because aapne recent most fad wala statement sun liya, now you're falling for it? How fair is that? That's not happening. That's not right. Please don't do that. Just go onto Google, because you will remember we were in lockdown when this was approved, And you would have noticed that everybody left, right and center sending all NEP compliance and this is how it will work. But who is coming to tell you how to apply it? Are textbooks going to change? Are the subjects going to change? Are the topics in these subjects going to change? Who has the answers for these questions? And strangely, none of the parents are even bothered asking these questions. That's why they are getting fooled. Next question. What is the new age criteria as per NEP? NEP is not bringing around, a watermelon juice mixed with an orange juice. It is still saying that watermelon juice will remain watermelon juice and orange juice will remain orange juice. We just have to give the expertise to children to understand what is what. That's all that it is doing. Okay. Now, the age criteria across the world for all these years has always been 6 years to get into elementary schooling around grade 1. For some reason, some confusion was created in the state of Maharashtra last year, immediately after the first round of admissions happened in November, December. And then something changed it back. I'm not going to be, judgmental about why, what happened and things like that. But the age criteria to get into grade 1 has always been around the age of 6 years. 5 years and 8 months, 6 years and 2 months, around the age of 6 years. Why? Because this is not determined by the board. This is determined by the age, because around the age of 6, your child getting into grade 1 will learn these certain few things. Around the age of 7, your child getting into grade 2 will learn these certain few things. And that's how it works across the world. That's not how it works just in India. So the age criteria, just because of new NEP, does not change. It remains the same. Now when you back count it, your child has to be around the age of 5 for senior KG, around the age of 4 for junior KG, around the age of 3 for nursery. Hasn't that been similar for when we went to school? It has been the same. So how did it change? Nothing has changed. Okay. Now one of the important questions. What changes will the boards have to make as per NEP? That will be left to decide based on what letters come from the educational department on what changes we have to make. They will not be able to make drastic changes, right? Overnight, over the year, they can't say change this entire set of topics and put in new fresh topics. No, they are not going to do that. These are much evaluated topics for years together, and this is very age specific the way it is running right now. The problem that it is having is clubbing 50, 60, 70 kids in one class and then getting one teacher to tell that all children have to learn the same thing at the same pace. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है. Even if one teacher had 2 children teaching, both those children are going to have a different pace. You all must have seen these WhatsApp forwards and all, no? Where put 2 seeds, water them the same way, give them the same fertilizers, and yet one will grow differently from the other. ये सब हमको ये philosophy सब पता है. But when it comes to applying it to children, we don't really think it that far, isn't it? So what changes the boards will make, I'll just clarify it a little bit. So far, the boards used to prepare children around the age of 9th grade to prepare them for 10th grade. Now, what is different between each of the boards? Simple. The evaluation pattern is what is different between each of the boards. The way SSC board will evaluate an answer paper as compared to the way ICSE board will evaluate an answer paper, as compared to the manner in which CBSE board will evaluate an answer paper. All these evaluation patterns are different, and that is what each of the board school teaches children from grade 9 onwards. Okay, so around 9 onwards they start preparing. That's why many parents will say, many educators will say, don't switch between schools at grade 9, because now in whichever school you are, whichever board you are, you need to be learning in that entire manner together. So until 8th grade, you switch between schools or boards, doesn't matter. But once 9th, don't switch school or don't switch board unless it is, at most necessary or whatever challenges you may be facing for that. So what evaluation pattern each of the board uses is what is different. Obviously, even if Shoppers Stop and Max and Lifestyle are clothing brands, they all will have to keep different brands for them, no? Otherwise, what will make them different? Isn't it? So similarly put, SSC, ICSE, CBSE being Indian boards, NIOS as well, their evaluation pattern is different. Simply because they cannot copy each other, they'll simply become similar board again. No? So, kuch to alag hona chahiye. So, each of them evaluate differently. And it is a complete myth. Today, I'm going to say this again on my channel that, there are educators watching this, there are educators who are going to watch this tomorrow, day after, and they will accept what I say that none of the boards are going to guarantee a particular success format. None of the boards are going to guarantee any admission in a particular way that you have planned for your child. It does not work like that. And none of the boards actually are the foundation to get into a particular stream. No. Every board has similar topics that the child has to go through in 10th and in 12th. In spite of that, they still have to give their JE or NET and whatever and clear that with different set of marks to enter whichever field they want to enter. So stop worrying your children with such heavy marks and 100 different classes. From the 24 hours, take out 30 hours out of the child. Please don't do that. Because no matter, even if your child at the grade of 12 got a 60% or a 58%, still if they are interested in getting into an engineering or medical or whatever, they have to give those particular entrance exams. Plus, if they have to go into any international institution, they still have to give those entrance exams. Okay? So, just your school's 12th passing mark is not the be-it-all for you to enter into the next level. Now, evaluation pattern as per NEP may change, which I hope it does, because all depends upon how evaluation is done. How a child's answer paper is checked. Instead of just looking at bookish answers, if people have the time to check through the answers and just see that there is sensibility put into the answer by the child, although they may not have used the exact same words from the book, they have probably used sensible answers into that question paper, then that evaluation pattern makes a lot more sense. So probably if the evaluation pattern changes, NEP will just simply flourish. It will be like 100% excellent thing. Now, on that note, I'm going to share something that's some very good friends of mine and some very famous educators of Pune have spoken to me about, and I've taken their permission and I'm going to share this on their permission. I'm first going to read out about something that Nidhi Mithil Bhandare has spoken to me about. I asked her, what is the one thing that strikes exclusively about NEP 2020? And she couldn't just spot out one thing. She has said many things to me, but let me first tell you who she is and what she does. Nidhi Mithil Bhandare is a beautiful soul, a very warm and comfortable to speak with person. And hence she is in career counseling. She is a parental coach as well. If you have any concerns, I'm not just marketing for her, but main dil se keh rahi hu, she's a wonderful person to speak with. Anything around counseling, you know I am there, but you can definitely meet up with her too. And she says that NEP is a revolution in the education sector. I'm reading it out because I don't want to miss out on anything she said. She says it is equal opportunities for all. It is going to bring about human development. What a big word, human development. She says that students will be able to explore their potential in the right manner. It is going to be a stress-free education. It is going to be no peer pressure and no comparison. Wow! Can you imagine at what level now children are going to be if the new NEP is actually followed through the way it is expected to be? Yeah? Now, on this, I want to ask, how many of us as parents are willing to accept that if my child is not comfortable with a particular subject, I need to accept that my child should be able to let go of that subject. Learning math and making sure that I learn through the hardships of sine, cos, tan throughout my 10th and 12th does not define my career, right? But we were forced to do that. But somewhere we seem to be conditioned that that is the only way to get it done. No. Even if I did not know sine cos tan, or I did not know the Pythagoras theorem, or I did not know the area of an equilateral triangle, I can still get through with life, no? So if my child is not comfortable with math, can as parents we be comfortable enough to let them go get off it? Can we just do that much? Because NEP is really trying hard, okay? The next person I spoke to, and she gave me her feedback, is Mrs. Bhalerao, the principal of St. Paul's School. Beautiful person to speak with, so down to earth and so politely she speaks all the time. She says that I think it's more child-centric and enables a child to learn at his own pace, making it an enjoyable learning experience. I love the choice of words she has because I connect with it, and that's how we run it in our school at Head Over Heels. We go at the child's pace. And why we are able to do that? Simply because of our teacher-child ratio. Because that's very, very, very important. And she says that it's going to be an enjoyable learning experience. Wow. Now I'm going to speak about this next important person, and I am going to have a few moments to discuss that point. Mrs. Sharvari Govande. She is the principal of St. Mary's Junior College, another wonderful friend, and both of us planning to do our next level of education together. Let's see how that works. Now she says that the one thing that strikes her about NEP is overhauling of teacher education. What a big sentence she has said. Overhauling of teachers' education. Now you forget the children on what they are going to achieve. Is our current generation of teachers equipped to teach from a conceptual point of view to the next generation of children? Now this is really big. Our courses, the B.Ed and M.Ed courses, have not changed in many years. They are still doing the same kind of teaching that they were doing earlier. A few tweaks must have happened, but are these courses equipped enough to bring in the change that NEP is expecting? I don't know. Some people will have to answer that. Overhauling of teachers' education. Today's teachers, when I have interviewed multiple teachers for mathematics, science, I have asked, one simple question. Why is area of a triangle half into base into height? Why not just base into height? Why do we add half into that? The teachers say, because ऐसा लिखा हुआ है ma'am. My question is, इसको explain कीजिए. Explain to me why that formula is like that. We have a formula for a reason, no? We have a formula. Tables are nothing but formulae, right? We have a formula like a table which says 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. Instead of adding 2 plus 2 plus 2, I just say 2 times 3 is 6. So I just made a formula out of it, right? So children have to learn these tables, the so-called formula, the tables, right from grade 2 onwards. Some of schools also put pressure from grade 1. So, how are children going to learn formulae without knowing the logic behind it? That's why we, in our school times, learn tables as 2 2s are 4, 2 3s are 6, 2 4s are... No, that's how we learnt our tables, no? ऐसे आंख बंद करके, ऐसे we used to go. Like पानी खोल दिया नल से and it's just flowing. But today children are being taught 2 times 2. And what is the meaning of 2 times 2? And you know what? 2 times 6 is different from 6 times 2, although the value is same. Ask any math teacher. There is a difference to it. Now, who is going to be having the patience and the conceptual knowledge as math teachers to actually put across these kind of subjects in a conceptual manner? But that is what NEP is asking. How many schools who have even advertised immediately post-COVID that they are NEP compliant have these kind of classrooms? That's for some of us, I would really say that we should go and inspect such schools, isn't it? On that note, I want to say thank you to every single person who was watching me today, who who has written their comments. Many of you have been writing me your comments. I see it has been going on a complete roll. I have not been able to read all of it, but I will do that once I've closed this session. But thank you, educators. I can see that Roma ma'am is here, Roma Kamaji, a wonderful educator and ex-principal herself. I can see Dr. Padmashri Balal, our school principal, is here. I can see Nidhi ma'am is here. Thank you so much. I can also see a couple of my school parents who are here. Thank you so much to everyone for sitting down to listen to this. If any of you have something to add on what I have said today, please write on this post and spread the word to parents that don't get fooled by what blindly school office is telling you. Please do a little bit of research. Go on Facebook and ask these questions on school forums. Go on social media and ask educators to answer this question to you, because some questions cannot be answered by your supportive parent, but you need an answer on these things by a very honest educator. So come to educators and ask these questions. I always keep taking names of various educators on my channel, and if you have any queries, please feel free to write to me. All the best to all parents. New admission season is starting, so don't fall for gimmicks. Go by the facts, ask your questions, and make sure you get answers. Don't put your child through trouble, because they don't deserve that. They are out there ready to accept everything, so be there for them. Thank you so much and have a wonderful evening. Tomorrow around 10 o'clock, we will be having a discussion on boards and much more, where I'll be talking detail about few points that parents must remember when they're selecting boards. See you all. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.